Okay.
أستاذ
So
هلا بلشت معك.
yes, dear. Now we shall. Yes. Now we started the actual period, ya Hassan. Yes. Um, so as I was saying, we have a cause-effect essay. We will go and show some steps of writing a cause-effect essay, and then we shall go through a certain sample. Okay. First of all, Hala, can you remind us the concept of a cause-effect essay? I believe
Yeah.
while when we were back at school, we talked about it, but now let's refresh our minds a little bit. Yes?
Okay, a cause-effect essay is an essay that's has a paragraph has causes about a certain issue, and another paragraph that has problems and stuff about that issue.
Yes?
And that essay is about cause effects. Yes. It has a general introduction with thesis.
Okay, good. Now, fine. Okay, Hala, that's true so far. I'll tell you something. A cause-effect essay, we said that when we want to talk about a cause-effect essay, first of all, we shall start in general, okay, by talking about a certain topic, and then we limit our discussion, or which is the lead-in sentence, which is specifying what exactly we're going to talk about. And then we mentioned that a cause-effect essay can be either one-sided, it's like only causes or only effects. And I remember that we wrote examples of a thesis statement, and we said that the thesis statement is, it's like the determined part, the part that determines the layout of the body. And I distinctly remember that we wrote examples of a one-sided cause-effect essay, how the thesis is written, and if it's double-sided, as in causes and effects together, how the thesis should be written. Okay? All right. Now, let me show you a certain PowerPoint which shows you the steps clearly of how to write a cause-effect essay, and then we shall go through a sample together. Okay. Okay. So, all right. Guys, you know that all essays in the world share the same parts. In all essays, as you notice, the body part is always subdivided, okay? According to, how many ideas I ask you to discuss, and these ideas are formed in the thesis statement. And we said that the introduction is made up of three related parts. We have the hook, which is the general part. We start in general. So if we're talking about air pollution, we start in general about the environment, for example. Then the lead-in sentence is a sentence which mentions the exact topic I ask you to write about. And then you end the introduction with a thesis statement, which includes the ideas or the controllers you're going to discuss in the body. Thus, how many ideas you mention in the thesis determine how many paragraphs you're going to write. If it's one-sided cause-effect, it means only causes or only effects, then every cause or every effect is discussed in a body paragraph alone. Okay? So everybody might be discussing either a cause, if it's only causes, or an effect, if it's only effects. And then we said that the conclusion always begins with a transition. We always restate the thesis, and then we continue by giving measures or recommendations. This is in case the cause-effect is one-sided. It's only causes or only effects. In case our essay is double-sided, which means that both causes and effects are required from you as students to discuss, then you start in the same way. The thesis should mention both causes and effects. And then, how do we write the body? We write 3 paragraphs. We split the causes, but we combine the effects. And this means that we mention 2 causes every cause we discuss alone in a separate body paragraph, and then we combine all the effects together, and the conclusion is the same, a transition, restate, and then we give some measures or recommendation. Now, how do we write the thesis statement in case we have a one-sided either cause or either effect, and in case we have both? Let's remember together. Hassan Yassin, read. Let's remember together. We wrote them on the writing part. Yes, Hassan? Yes.
الو استاذ عم تحكيني شيء؟
Yes, Hassan Habibi. I was saying I want you to read the slide. Yes. How to write the thesis statement. Yes.
One of city assures money.
Yes, Hassan. Don't you see the slide?
أي واحد أول واحد.
Yes,
One.
writing the thesis statement.
In case of a signal-sided assay, this is
Single,
the this is the causes and effects. Example: obesity assures manually due to food commercials consuming a lot of junk food and not practicing sports. Smoking.
Yes, another example. Yes.
Smoking leads to dire social, personal, and physical outcomes.
Okay, so dear, if I as a teacher ask you in my prompt to write only causes or only effects, after you start in general, after you lead in and specify, before you go to the body, you should write the thesis statement. In case I ask you to write only causes or only effects, then you simply list them because the body will discuss them. For example, obesity occurs mainly due to food commercials, consuming a lot of junk food, and not practicing sports. I list the three causes behind obesity, which means that I have three paragraphs. The first body paragraph will talk about food commercials, the second about junk food, and the final one about not practicing sports. In the second example, if I ask you to write the effects of smoking, you tell me it leads to dire social, personal, and physical outcomes, which means that we also have three body paragraphs, one about social, one personal, one physical. Now, what if I ask you to write about both sides? I want you to talk about both causes and effects of a certain topic. How can we then write the thesis? Yes, Hassan.
In case of a double-sided assay, mention two reasons and write that they lead to dire effects. Example: the massive increase in the number of factories, as well as not taking public means of transportation, are the leading reasons behind air pollution, and they lead to dire drastic effects.
So if I ask you to write about causes and effects, what do we do in the thesis? We mention the two causes, but we don't mention the effects. So we say, for example, the massive, I want you to write about air pollution. Causes and effects. You write two causes. For example, the massive increase in the number of factories, reason one, not taking public, transportation. Two. So we have two reasons. We mention the reasons, but we don't mention the effects. We just then say, and they lead to dire or drastic outcomes. Okay? This is just a reminder of the cause-effect essay, which we discussed previously in class, and we wrote some rules, of course. Now, we have a sample just to remember. Let's just start reading the sample together. Okay. Climate change. Let me see. Bara'a, can we start reading, please? The sample. Yeah.
Climate change. Climate change is the seasonal changes for a long period of time in the world. These climate patterns play an important role in shaping natural ecosystems and the human economics and cultures that depends on them. As the Earth's climate is dynamic and always changing through a natural cycle, the world is now worried about the changes that occurs today have been speeding up and seriously affecting humans' lives. The changes in climate occurs due to natural and human causes and affects humans' health and biodiversity.
Okay. So the topic is about climate change. Let's now remember together. The writer can start the hook with in many ways, as we discussed earlier. The hook, which is the beginning of the essay, it might be a definition, it might be a quote, questions, statistics, facts. Here, what kind of code does the writer use in your opinion? Yes? When I say, Omar Naib, definition, excellent. Climate change is the seasonal changes for a period of long time, or the word. So this is a definition. The writer starts the hook with a definition, and then he says that climate changes play an important role in shaping natural ecosystems. Okay, then he leads in or narrows down his discussion when he says, okay, when he says, as the Earth's climate is dynamic and always changing through a natural cycle, the world is now worried about the changes. So you see now the introduction with the three colors, the hook, the lead in blue, and then the thesis in red. The writer starts in general about climate change by giving a definition. And then he narrows down his topic by saying that the world is now worried about the changes. So here, when you narrow down your topic, my prompt asks you to write about why climate change is a problem and what the causes and effects are. So you start, here the writer decides to start by giving a definition, and then he leads in by saying that climate change is a problem, and he uses the adjective worried, right? So he uses the adjective worried to show that it's a problem, and then he ends with a thesis statement in the red by saying that the changes in climate occurs due to natural and human causes. So how many reasons do we have here? 2 reasons.
2.
Natural, this is 1, and human, this is 2. Of course, Mr. I shall send the sample on eSchool later today. Okay, because we already, as I told you, wrote the rules. And then he says, and affects humans' health and biodiversity. So here the writer, he says, we are going to talk about climate change, and the climate change occurs, due to natural and human causes. So this is reason 1, natural, reason 2, humans. And of course, it has many effects. Here, you can simply say, and it leads to dire effects, without having to specify the kinds of effects, or you can simply name them, like the sample, no problem. So hook, lead in the blue, and then the red is the thesis statement. So we have 2 reasons and multiple effects. This makes this essay what? Double-sided, right? So this is a double-sided essay. It means that we have 2 causes, natural and human. So every cause we shall discuss in a separate paragraph, and then we shall combine these effects together in the same paragraph. So we shall have 3 body paragraphs. 1 talking about natural causes, 1 talking about the human causes, and the final one talking about the effects together. Omar Naib, start with the first body paragraph, which talks about natural causes. Yes, Omar.
There are 2 main causes of climate changes, natural causes and human activities. Natural causes have influenced the Earth's climate, such as volcanic eruptions, ocean current, and the Earth orbit,
Orbital changes.
orbital changes, and solar variations. The eruptions of volcanoes cause a cooling effect on the Earth. When a volcano erupts, it throws out large volumes of sulfur dioxide, SO2, water vapor, dust, and ash into the atmosphere. The tiny particles, the dusts and ashes, will block the incoming
Yes, the
sun,
incoming.
sun rays, and this will lead to cooling at the atmosphere. This is because the bouncing of sunlight and space cooling the atmosphere of the Earth.
Excellent. Okay, so Mr., let me remind you of some important points first. Okay, some important points. All right, so we said that every body paragraph must start with a topic sentence. A topic sentence is a sentence which tells me what this paragraph is about. So the first reason, as mentioned in the thesis, is the natural causes. So we take it and we write a sentence to start talking about it. So, okay. Natural causes have influenced the Earth's climates. You know that in the body, we discuss by giving facts, statistics, details, okay? So here, when we talk about natural causes, the writer mentions what he means by that. You know, it's related to the Earth climate due to volcanic eruptions, ocean current, and then he gives example like when a volcano erupts, what might happen, and how this affects the sun entering the sunlight entering the atmosphere of the Earth. Now, the second cause, as mentioned in the thesis, is related to humans. So let's see. Noor Hamoud, please. Another main cause, yes? Yes, Noor Hamoud. محمد حريري شبايطة, thank you. محمد حريري, let me go around.
Nemesis.
يلا حبيبي, نعم عليك. Another main cause, yes?
Another main cause that leads the climate change that leads to climate change is human activities.
Yes.
Many vegetation areas.
Many vegetation, yes.
Vegetation areas were cleared to become houses and or factories for industries. Natural resources are being used extensively for construction industries, transport and consumption. All this has contributed to the rise of greenhouse gases such as methane and nitrous oxide in the atmosphere. Human is generating industries, factories, and houses, and running the vehicles that use many fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gases. These uses of fossil fuel will lead to climate change, global climate change.
Yes.
Global climate change is caused by fertilizers that use the agricultures.
Okay. So the second reason for climate change is related to human activities. So we start with the topic sentence. As you see, the topic sentence, guys, and the thesis statement are called controllers. That's why I mark them as bold and red typed. So these are controllers, the thesis and the topic sentences, as in the beginning of every body paragraph. So the second body paragraph was about the second cause, related to human activities. Now, this is cause effect. So what do we still have to write about effects? Okay, and as we said, we don't split the effects as we do to the causes. We combine them in the same paragraph. So Mariam al-Dabit, please. Yes, the effects now.
Yeah. As a conclusion,
All the causes, dear.
all the causes are giving a great impact for climate changes in our Earth. Firstly, climate change in the world will affect human health.
Mr. Yes.
There are so
typing
many
mistake.
past
Yes.
There are so many past researches showed that climate change will lead to human health and producing diseases. For example, Mickley 2007 stated high levels of surface ozone and particles have been inflicted in many diseases involving the cardiac and respiratory system. Secondly, climate changes will also affect the biodiversity. Biodiversity is very important for the plants and animals to maintain their habitat and ecosystem. The climate changes have impacted the loss of biodiversity. For example,
Yes.
I'm
the
sorry.
water sources.
For example, the water sources may change the food chain, may destroy, and the medicine source may change. In addition, the marine ecosystem will be affected not only by an increase in the sea temperature, but also ocean acidification, which increases the vulnerability of fragile ecosystems.
Such as coral reefs. Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Mariam. So, Mr., as I told you, this paragraph talks about the effects. We start with the topic sentence in the red. We mention the effects together. You see the transitions, firstly, moreover, in addition. So we combine effects together. According to firstly, moreover, and in addition, this means that we have 3 effects. You can write 2. Since we wrote above two causes, you can only write 2 effects as to be parallel or matching. There is no problem. Here, the writer, he wrote 3 effects. We mentioned them and then we discuss. The first effect is that it, affects the human health, and then it affects biodiversity, and then the marine ecosystem. You can only write 2 effects as to match the 2 causes. That's fine. Now, we said that how do we end? We always end by a transition, and then we restate the thesis, and then we can do a recommendation or call for action, as you see. So as a conclusion, we can see that there are many effects of climate changes that are seriously affecting, our environment, health, and biodiversity. So we start, by restating the thesis in some way, and then we can continue by giving measures or calling for action. For example, if we still haven't taken any actions to prevent the climate changes, our Mother Earth will become sick more seriously. Okay, let us work together to protect and love our beautiful Mother Earth that was given by God, and try to keep her healthy as long as we can. Okay, so overall, this is a sample cause effect essay with the introduction, the hook, the lead-in, and the thesis, 3 body paragraphs, 2 causes and 1 for the effects, as clearly shown and clearly divided, and finally the conclusion, which begins with a transition and restatement of the thesis, and then we can continue by giving a recommendation or simply call for action. Okay, dear? Okay.